Pathfinders Scholarship Webinar 2025. Okay, is it on? Okay, we're live. All right, wonderful. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to the Pathfinder Scholarship Webinar 2025. I think yesterday was a really great starting point. There was a lot to learn, like a whole lot. We had two amazing speakers, Miss Olajire and Miss Blessing, and what they had to impact to each and every one of us was simply amazing. So, if you missed yesterday, all right, that's fine. You can still go back to our YouTube and go and check. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. All right, so in a couple of minutes, we're going to be bringing on board an amazing person to give us a new experience when it comes to getting scholarships. I believe all of us here are looking for scholarships, either to study abroad or in our beloved country of the United States of Nigeria. So, without further ado, we shall be inviting Miss Favor Coyote to the stage. I'm going to be reading her bio right now. So, Ms. Favor Coyote is a chemical engineer with first class honors from Landmark University, Nigeria, where she graduated as the overall best student in the class of 2022. She's also a 2024 finalist of the prestigious Rhodes Scholarship for West Africa. With a passion for environmental sustainability, she has served in leadership positions across youth led organizations, developing programs to tackle environmental challenges facing Nigeria. My goodness. And she is still in her, wow, wow. And she's a youth, just like you and I. What am I doing with my life? All right, let's move on. At the University of Cambridge, she's currently pursuing an MPhD. Did I get that right? Okay, an MPHL in Advanced Chemical Engineering, funded by the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship. Her research at Cambridge focuses on a dual carbon capture approach. Now that is amazing. So Ms. Favor is going to be talking today on how to write an SOP that gets you shortlisted for scholarships. Some of you might be wondering, what's an SOP? What was that? Is it a statement of problem? Statement of what exactly is it? So we're going to be delving into that today. How to write one, how to write an excellent one, and yeah, things to know. So, Miss Favor, are you on board? Are you can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much, Jason, for the
All right.
introduction. Thank you so much. First, I just want to say thank you to the organizers of this scholarship webinar. Thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here to talk about the SOP that gets you shortlisted. So we'll just get right into it to save time and to be very conscious of time today so that we can get into in details, in full details, everything that I have prepared for us today. Yes, just as he introduced, I am Favor Coyote and I am studying for an MPhil. It's a short form for a Master of Philosophy degree in Chemical Engineering at the University of Cambridge. Okay, so what is an SOP? Because most times everybody says, oh, write your SOP. Do you have a sample of an SOP? What is an SOP? So an SOP in terms of scholarship application or postgraduate studies application is simply a statement of purpose. It is a personal essay that basically outlines your academic and professional experiences, like key experiences you have from maybe your undergraduate studies, key experiences you have from industry, key experiences you have from research, your motivations, and also your future goals. So this particular, essay helps admissions committee understand you, understand how you fit into the program, and to also understand your long-term aspirations. So it's usually a common requirement in almost all, if not all, graduate school applications. So what I did was to attach like a sample of some of the statement of purpose prompts that I have encountered. I just attached two samples. These are prompts from actual essays that I wrote and submitted. So usually, sometimes you can have a statement of purpose that is you can have requirements from maybe a scholarship you're applying to or a department or a program you're applying to, asking for a statement of purpose, right? So when you're doing graduate school applications, sometimes you're applying to a school, and then the school and the particular department will tell you this and this is what we expect of you. Let me use myself for an example. You're applying to chemical engineering at the University of Cambridge, for example. The department will tell you, oh, we need to know why you want to apply to this program, right? So they could call it different names. They may not necessarily say this is a statement of purpose on their website. They could call it, can you write an essay telling us your reason for applying? Right? So it could be branded and it could be worded differently. So you could hear, tell us your reason for applying. Some persons will say, tell us your motivation for applying, tell us why you want to study this course, right? So it could come in different forms. So these two samples are attached in this slide are some of the prompts that I had from some of the essays that I submitted sometime last year or 2 years ago. Our example one says, we would like to learn more about your interest in further academic study. Please explain how the degree program you have chosen to study here relates to your future goals. What specifically about this course would be useful for you? So, right, that's basically they want to know why you want to study this program, right? How is this program a perfect fit for you? So you may not necessarily always see you may not necessarily always see SOP, right? A statement of purpose for us. No, they could present it in different words, different formats. So you have to really look at what they have given you, clearly assess the things that they have outlined that they want to see, because it could come in different forms. It may not always be worded this way. So you have to pay attention to the different prompts given to you by different departments or different scholarships. So you know that sometimes you're applying to a department and then you also have to apply maybe separately to a scholarship. And maybe the department asks for a statement just like this, and then maybe the scholarship will also ask you for something like that as well. So it could come in different forms. Example two is says your statement of purpose should identify your desired degree program, summarize your academic and professional background, identify your desired field of study, and summarize your likely career goals and plans after graduation. This is your opportunity to help our faculty to get to know you. Generally, statements of purpose should not exceed one page. If longer, that is okay. So that was actually just what a department put up on their website as their requirement, that you should do this. They want to know your academic and professional background. And for them, they said, oh, they don't want it to be more than one page. So you see how like different statement of purpose requirements are worded, and some of them will give you word limits. Some of them will tell you give us 5,000 characters. I think one of my essays when I applied to Cambridge was like 5,000 characters, not words, characters. Another one will say, give us 2 pages. Now, this particular sample two says it should not exceed one page. So, different schools, different scholarships, different programs, they'll have different requirements for your statement of purpose. They'll have different prompts. They'll have specific things they want to see. Like for this one, they clearly stated that they want to see how you identify your field of study, summarize your goals, what you want to do after you graduate. So they want you to be that forward thinking. They were so specific. They're like, summarize your academic and professional background, right? So they want to see all these key details. And they're saying all the things that we're asking of you in this sample two, this sample two here, all of that, they just want it in one page. So you have to be very attentive to prompts. You have to be very attentive to what each institution, each department, each scholarship like is asking of you. They will not always be asking you for the same thing. So you have to be very attentive to the different prompts and the different ways that your statement of purpose is worded or required from you. That being said, I'll just discuss some of the common mistakes that a lot of persons make with their statement of purpose that doesn't make their statement of purpose go through, that doesn't make them get accepted into schools. And some of these problems and some of these mistakes that people commonly make is lack of preparation. The first one is lack of preparation. Some persons just, you want to write a statement of purpose, you're told the statement of purpose is due by the end of the month, and then you wait for the very last week before you try to quickly use ChatGPT and put the prompt there and try to fix it all together, right? So lack of preparation will actually show. It will show that you have poorly done your homework in terms of what the department is about, what the school has to offer. When you prepare, it will show in the content of your essay, because you'll be coming in with correct facts. Like you can say things about particularly maybe the department you like when you're well prepared, because you'll have probably gone through the entire website to know what the department does, to know the faculty within the department that you love, to know some kind of activities or special things that the department have. Maybe they have like a particular particular equipment, they have a particular research lab, they have a particular feature in, in that group or department or school that you really love. But if you've not done research, it will show in the way you write, because you'll just be writing on a surface level and there will be no depth to your writing. So lack of preparation is a mistake a lot of persons make. Another mistake people make is lack of personal reflection, right? You just write generically, like you just write and you don't pay attention to your own self, like you don't pay attention to telling your own story, right? So every one person is different. I am different from you. You are different from me. We all have different experiences. We have lived different lives. We have done different things. So if you try to write your SOP because you saw someone else's sample and try to now make your SOP look like their own statement of purpose, you've not been true to yourself, right? You've not reflected well. And you may realize upon reflection that there are unique things about you that the other person does not have. But because you have chosen to, not carefully reflect and just talk and just write and just put general words just like everybody else, or use general samples and just copy and put in a few things as relating to yourself, and it would show in your essay that you have not really put in your own personal self into that work. Another thing is lack of coherence, right? There's just things that just flying around your essays. You cannot, when I read some, I've been privileged to go through some person's essays. They'll send to me as like, could you help me go through and see what's it like? And sometimes I go through and I'm utterly confused. I'm like, okay, where is the head and the tail of this essay? So like it should be coherent, just like we learned essay writing when we're like in primary school, secondary school, right? We used to write essays. Then you have your body, you have your body and you have your essay in paragraphs, right? So all of those things, they apply even in your statement of purpose. You have your introduction, you have your body, you have your conclusion, right? And in all of that, all of them are segmented, they are put into different paragraphs for clarity, for coherence. So I know that, okay, when I read, I'm like, oh, this is the introductory paragraph. This is the body of your essay. Now you've put in like maybe two, three paragraphs for your body, and then your conclusion. I can tell that, oh, this person is ending this essay this way, right? So these are ways you ensure coherence in your essay. But sometimes some people just write. You have to pay attention to all of those things. And then also lack of originality, as I think I'd mentioned that kind of in lack of preparation, because when people just rush through and then you just maybe the school gives you a prompt like one of the samples I just showed you in the previous slide, and then you probably just put the prompts in your in ChatGPT or whatever AI tool you use, and then you just expect ChatGPT to give you something that is you. ChatGPT that does not know you the way you know yourself, right? So that like those kind of essays will lack originality. It will lack your true self. It will just look so general and so non-human, right? It will lack emotion, it will lack all the important elements that make a very good statement of purpose. It's also put by the side of these mistakes, how to actually avoid these mistakes. So we should start by knowing the things we should not do, right? So how do you avoid some of these mistakes? First thing you can do is to start thinking early. I put here a year ahead if possible, right? Start thinking really early about your school choices and then the requirements in that particular school or scholarship you're applying to. So if your department says we need a statement of purpose from you, we need a CV from you, we need your transcript, we need this, and this. If they've outlined the things they need from you, it's good to, ahead of time, know that, okay, this is the school I want to apply to. These are the schools I want to apply to. Because I usually advise people to spread their options. Don't just say you're bent on going to one school alone and that's the only school you try in that year. No, when application season is open, try as much as possible to do 5, 6, 7, as much as you can applications, because it is good to spread your wings and spread your options. So ahead of time, it's good to have started to prep, right? It's good to know what the school wants. It's good to know what the department wants. And if you've identified a scholarship in that school that you want to apply to, it's good to also know what the scholarship wants. Because sometimes your department will ask for an essay, the scholarship will also ask you for an essay as well. So you need to know what they want, know the differences. Because sometimes the content of what you write to the department will be different from what you need to write for the scholarship. The scholarship may want to see extra things like some extracurricular activities and things like that that you have done for a scholarship, for example. Whereas for a department, they just want to see how you're a great fit for their program, maybe based on your background, undergraduate studies, your internships, research experiences, and things like that. But usually, the scholarship want to see some extra things. It was very interesting that, for example, the Rhodes Scholarship, they would like to see how you should demonstrate how you're an honest person, how you're a disciplined person, and you cannot just say, "Oh, I am a disciplined person. I am an honest person." You have to demonstrate that by experiences, things you've done, right? Activities you've done, and all of that. So good preparation. That's if you start to plan way ahead of time. So I use myself as an example. Like I was in final year, and from final year, in when I was in Landmark University, I already knew that I wanted to pursue my master's, right? I already knew that. So from final year, I was already actively identifying all the scholarships that I thought I wanted to go for. So what I'll do is when I identify a scholarship, I'll store them in a particular folder. I'm like, okay, when I'm ready for scholarships, I will I would go for this. I would go for this. So I was already taking them down. I was attending all these free webinars as well. Like there were things like this I would see online. So you can imagine it's like a full cycle moment right now, me giving back because I attended things like this in my final year. Where I would see online that they're organizing a free scholarship webinar on how to apply to schools in America, in the UK, and all of that. So I would see those things, Australia, and I would sign up for them and attend them. So I was actively, putting myself in spaces where I could get the right kind of information. So if you're here today, I just want to say you're doing a very good job and you're in the right place, you're doing the right thing, preparing your mind and preparing yourself for scholarships. So yeah, preparing early is very good. And that way you know the requirements, you're settled, you know the scholarship you're going to go for, you know their opening dates, you know when the department opens applications. So you're already set ahead of time, your mind is calm and all of that. If you're going to be applying for this year's circle, this is already July. So I think most scholarships, some scholarships have already started to open. Some of them are started to open, but the peak of scholarship applications I think usually opens like September, yeah, October. So you're already if you're already here, that's good. You have good time to prepare yourself and to get ready. Then personal reflection. I put up I would We'll discuss this much in the later part of this talk and later part of this session. But for personal reflection, like I've just said, it's just good to think about yourself, your scholarship essays, your departmental essays, your statement of purposes. It should be about yourself. It should be about your story. It should be about your experience. It should be something you deeply think about, right? And then coherence. I have some strategies I'm going to share with us. And yeah, I've spoken about some of these bits already. All right, so self-reflection prompt. Why I put this prompt together here for us today is because I realized that even for myself, I personalized this session so much that I asked myself that when I started to write an SOP, how did I feel in the very beginning? And the truth is, at the beginning, before I wrote any statement of purpose, I felt like I had nothing to say. I felt like, where do I even start from? Right? I was like, I don't have anything to say. How am I even going to write this essay? Do I even have anything to tell anybody? Right? I felt clueless. So, like, if you are at that point, it is completely normal to feel like, you don't know what to say, you don't know what to write. The page, you just open a Word document and it's a blank page, right? So that's completely normal. So what I did is some of the things that helped me was reflecting and doing some personal and self-reflection to know and to fully understand myself before pouring that out in an essay. So I put some prompt here, like ask yourself some of these questions, like what is your goal for the future, right? Think about it. What do you want to do? What have you done? What do you want to do? Do you want to change your path? Do you want to continue what you've been doing before? Right? Another question you can ask yourself is, okay, you might be thinking, I've not done anything. That's the one of the most common statements people make. I've not done anything. I don't have any experience. I've not done anything. I've not impacted anybody. But you've not really sat down to actually think. You're ignoring some of the little things you've done. And that's the thing, your statement of purpose is an opportunity for you to tell your story. And since nobody knows you, you are the author of that narrative. So it's how you construct it, how you put it, that they will receive it. So no matter how small something you've done is, don't neglect it. It is your experience, it is your story. So own it. So you ask yourself, what volunteering activity have I been involved in? Any little thing, think about it. Oh, you were once part of a group that did something great in school. Maybe you were part of the community, for example, landmark student, maybe you're part of the community development team, for example, you're part of the welfare team in school, you're part of something. Some of those things, you think about them, oh, I've done this, I've done that. You just begin to gather them, maybe random, but just think about them first, right? What activities have you done voluntarily, right? Also, you can ask yourself, have you led a team in any capacity? Maybe you've been a class rep at some point, maybe we're just a little committee or for a program or something to organize something. Think about it. Have I led in any capacity whatsoever? Maybe you were a society president or something. Just think about it. Have you done any of those things? For those that have served, you can ask yourself, okay, what did you do in your CDS, or what CDS group did you belong to? What kind of impact did people make? Did you guys do any group activity or any of those things? Any little thing like that, just begin to think about them. What internships have you done, right? What work experience do you have, right? Have you been involved in any research internships? Right, just think about these little questions. You could add more. Think about it. Just keep asking yourself the very little details. And it could even be as far back as secondary school. Maybe you were just social prefect. You were just this. Maybe you inspired change somewhere. You just did something. Note all those things down. Storytelling is powerful, and it's how you say it that really, really matters. So never neglect your life story or life experiences and conclude that you don't have anything to say or tell anybody. You always have something to say. Everybody's unique, everybody's different, and you have something you've done at one point or the other in your life. You can just note all those little things down. You just put them down. When you ask yourself these questions, you write them, and put them down. Before you know, you're having a document that is comprising of things that you've done or achieved at certain points in your life. And all those things can gradually fit into the bigger SOP when you're ready to put the full document together. All right. So I give up. I usually recommend a structural approach in starting your statement of purpose when you're writing. So now that you've self-reflected, now that you've asked yourself all of that important question, right? I usually recommend you use a past, present, and future approach, right? So past is okay. What did you do in the past? What are some of the experiences that shaped you? What motivated you to maybe even start the career path you're on? Maybe there was a story, maybe there was a family member, maybe there was someone that inspired you, right? You think about it, your past, what have you done? Your undergrad, what you finished with, the department, what you did, all of those little things, you can do that. Then your present, you now talk about what you're doing. You can start a whole paragraph on your present. Oh, I am currently, maybe you're done with school, for example. You're like, oh, I am currently working with, so maybe you're on your NYC and maybe working with your company or whatever. You put it there. I'm currently doing this, where I'm learning this, I'm gaining this experience, and all of that is going to, you tie all of that together, your past, tie your present, then you tie it to your future and how what you're doing presently will help you in the program you want to apply to. You're just ensuring that there is coherence. So what this past, present, future approach does is to help you such that the body of your essay is filled with like a coherent structure. So I just usually recommend that people use it. You don't have to, but it's a recommendation. Past, present, future approach. So the body of your essay will contain things you've done in your past, articulate them very well. I was this is this. I graduated from this department, which is so great. Before during the course of my studies, we had, maybe for example, you're a science student, you had internship, the one you go for your IT, you can talk about maybe where you did it, the impact you had, what you learned, and you phrase it properly as someone that has gained, a valuable work experience and things like that. Maybe you did you did research internship or whatever it is. You put it together, you phrase it properly, then you talk about what you're doing presently, then you talk about what you want to do in the future. And what you want to do in the future could comprise of maybe the department, the faculty member you want to maybe get into. Let's say you admire a particular professor in that department or school you're applying to. Like, I'm going to be working with, I would love the opportunity to work with so. Let's say Mr. Thomas, for example, as he's an expert in, let's say, energy technology. And I have all the, you tie it to all the experiences you've gained and how being in such an opportunity, having such an opportunity to learn from him and to maybe to be supervised by him and things like that, or taught by him, which would align with your future goals and all of that you have been learning. So just being able to tie all of that together, you see how all of these things, you're discussing your future, how the things you've done in your past, how the school will help you in your future goals, how the scholarship will also contribute to your future goals. Now, talking about the faculty member also shows that you've done your research and how that maybe the particular area of their study, this particular faculty member really aligns with your own goals. So that way, you're already showing that you've done your homework about the department, about the faculty, about your program, about yourself. You're already showing that you're someone that really know like what you're doing. So that's very, very important. So I gave like an example of how you can start out when you're writing. So now that you know what like the past, present, future approach, now just as some hooks, as some persons call it, like starters that you can begin with. So for example, I usually recommend that use a storytelling approach when you're writing your SOP. Why should you do this? Because I think that it makes it feel so genuine. Like when your audience, when the person that's reading your SOP reads it, they can feel it personal, right? Something personal to you. It doesn't even have to be a sad story. I've seen people start their SOPs with very funny stories. Like you read the first line and you just burst into laughter. That shows authenticity. Like, and just imagine your the person reading it just sees the first line that you took your time to think about, and then you came up with that first line and it looks so good, it's so great. They'll be so happy. Imagine, just that person reading it and smiling. Sometimes it's not a smiley story, sometimes it's a sad story, something bad happened that sparked in you the desire to now do what you want to do as your career. It gets the reader emotional, right? So you should remember that the persons reading your SOPs, they're not computers, they're human beings. So you're writing to get the attention of those persons. So they're reading, you're like, wow, this is interesting. Or maybe you said something interesting about maybe an experience you grew up having in Nigeria or something, or how that connects. But I usually recommend that your SOP with a storytelling approach. So I put two examples here of like what a storytelling approach is. The one for like medicine and another for law. So let's say, for example, you're writing this SOP to study a medical degree or to study one of the medical sciences program in a particular school. So what I wrote was what I put together. Let me read this out. The first example, just hear this, and you'd see that it's actually quite interesting when you start with the storytelling approach. Okay, let me read the one about law. So I was about 13, there's a 13 years old when my cousin called crying because her landlord had thrown her out without warning. She had just lost her job and was behind on rent, but there was no court notice, no formal eviction, just her and her two kids on the streets. I remember my dad saying she cannot fight this. The law cannot help her. That stuck with me. And since then, I've always wanted to understand the law, not just for me, but for people who are constantly silenced because they don't know where to begin. So this way, you have told us that the reason you're doing this is because maybe an experience. You don't have to lie, please. If something like this did not happen, don't say it happened though. But if something like this happened, is you just reflecting. So if this truly happened to someone, right, it just shows that, oh wow, it was a bitter experience that brought about something sweet now that they want to do. They want to influence other people because they had a bad experience in their past and they want to rewrite that story for themselves and for others. That is beautiful. That's an interesting way to start. And before you know, you go on to talk about your motivation, you go on to talk about the things you've now done to get into the law space, maybe what you finished with, what you're currently doing, how you're working with a law firm, how you're interning with something. Then you talk about the things you want to do in the future and how the school and all of that align. So that way you see how you have a beautiful beginning. But when you start like this, you've already gotten the reader hooked on your essay. You're like, wow, they want to really know where this is going, right? Another example I put there is for a medical reason. I actually put this because I had a friend also that is interested in studying something related to cancer science, but it was inspired by the loss of someone that died of cancer, right? So that was what gave me the idea also to put this sample in. So for this essay, it says, I didn't really understand what cancer was until it took my mom's sister. We thought it was just a lump in her breast, but by the time she got diagnosed, it had already spread. I remember sitting beside her hospital bed, listening to the doctors speak in terms we didn't understand, watching her go through pain that no one seemed able to ease. That experience made me study medicine to make sure families like mine don't feel that lost or helpless again. So something like that. It really doesn't have to be a sad story. I'm sorry that all the experiences I put here are sad stories, but sometimes it can be very funny. It can be something interesting. It can be something cool. It can be about television shows. It can be about something you grew up seeing that inspired your career path. It could be just anything. Like just think, allow yourself reflect. The thing SOP does to you is that it grinds you, like it makes you really think about yourself. It makes you really think deeply and internally, and that is a good process to go through. It's like a self learning process actually. So another point I made also is the role of context when you're writing. Since I've given us the past, present, future approach, I've also taught us on how to use storytelling. Another thing you should know is the use of context. Remember that the persons that will be reading your essay, some of them, especially when you're applying to international schools, they don't know some abbreviations that you are used to here in Nigeria. I was going to be writing an SOP one time, and I was going to talk about, I don't ask me how Suya related to my SOP, got related to my SOP, but I shall mention something about Suya in my essay. And then I had to put in bracket what Suya is in English. So that when someone is reading this, and I know that they are not in Nigeria, so they will not know what Suya is, I had to put in bracket and explain. So that way you are giving your audience context so that they know exactly what you're saying and what it means, right? So it's really helpful. If you write words like NYSC, they're not in Nigeria sometimes. I mean, especially if it's an international school you're applying to, they've not lived in Nigeria. They don't know what NYSC is. So don't just write NYSC and think your audience will understand what NYSC is. Give context. You put in bracket National Youth Service Scheme. You can even go a little further and say, oh, this is a 1 year 1 year program organized or by the Nigerian government for graduates to integrate themselves into multicultural societies and all of that. You give a little context so that when they read it, they have an idea of what you mean. Oh, so this is what the Nigerians do. You get that kind of thing. So give them context. Then another thing you can do in terms of context is quantify. I put two examples. One, a bad example of poor context and a good example of context. The first one says, I led a vaccination campaign that was really successful and helped reduce rabies cases in the area. Sorry. So you see how that example is just brief. This person is just talking about something they did, and it's super brief. It's just brief there. I led a vaccination campaign, and nothing, no quantification, no numbers to know the like amount of impact that was made and things like that. Now look at an example with context. It says, as team lead for the vaccination campaign in Zaria, this is a revision of the same thing I was said earlier. I mobilized 15 volunteers and vaccinated over 500 domestic animals within 4 weeks, reducing reported rabies cases in the community by 80%. You see how a reader would look at this person and be like, oh wow, this person did this thing, this person did this great. So for example, this could be someone maybe applying for like a veterinary medicine program or something like that, or animal science or things like that, right? So by the time they're able to put forth context like this within their essay, the person can understand, the reader can understand that, oh, this is what you have done, this is what this person has done, right? So this contextualization is very important in your essay. Don't assume that your readers know everything. They don't know they didn't grow up with you, they don't know some of the abbreviations you know or you're used to. So please give them a lot of context. Even while you try to also stick to the word limit, because that is very important. Yeah. So in summary, um research well, research the school, department, program, and the faculty you're interested in properly, carefully understand the prompts you are given so you don't write, just anyhow. Make it very personal. Also blow your horn. Please don't be too modest about your achievements. I'm going to use this example. I don't want to call her name, but let me just say, I read somebody's essay, and then I know this girl. I know that she had done very, very excellent stuff. Like she had done excellently well. But then I read her essay and I couldn't see all the beautiful things I knew she had done in that essay, like her academic achievements and things like that. She didn't write any of them in there. And I was very angry. I said, how can you not put this very important detail? You try so hard why are you trying so well to be modest? No. Your SOP is an opportunity for you to show how well you have done in your lifetime. Like show the great things you have done, no matter how little. Like there's a way you tell them powerfully, right? Show all these things, because how you write is how they would see you. How you write about yourself is how they'll view you. So how you see yourself is how you'll be seen. Stop thinking too much. Just pick up that Word document, start typing and don't overthink about everything before you do it. So shortly, this is it. This is what I had prepared for us statement of purpose wise, I did my best in putting in samples of what different sections of your um statement of purpose can look like. And overall, when you write, when you think you've had a good draft, it's very good to maybe share with someone that is experienced, that has maybe gotten into schools before as well, to go through them, to relieve their comments and to let you know what they think. It's very good to have a second eye on your statement of purpose before you submit. Because sometimes you may think you've written very great, then you just give it to someone and they're like, ah, change this, change it, change this, change this, because they're well experienced and they can spot mistakes even when you do not. So yes, so this is the little I have to share on the SOP that gets you shortlisted. Thank you.
All right. Miss Favor, can you hear me?
Yes, I am hearing you.
Okay, so that was an amazing session. I believe everyone that watched this and everyone that will still watch it later would be really like impacted. A lot of wisdom was passed here. Okay, so let's get to the nitty gritty of it all. Question and answers. So, would you prefer I read out all the questions to you at once or one by one?
Let's do it one by one. So I take note of
Okay,
everything. Yeah.
all right, excellent choice. So, first question, Madam. First of all, your diction excellent, the way you organize your templates and speech excellent. So the question is for those who do not have a good foundation when it comes to writing and speaking English, when it comes to composing their words, writing an SOP might seem like a very challenging hurdle. So, what would be your advice for such people who do not have that type of grounding?
Okay. So people that may find it difficult putting essays together and everything.
Mhm.
Well, I'll just say that if you were able to go through like school, especially like complete your undergraduate studies, at the very minimum, you know how to write something because you had to write stuff, you had to submit assignments, you had to do exams, right? So you still know something. That's the problem. Like with statement of purpose, we overthink and we give ourselves different reasons why we think we cannot do like we cannot do well enough, and that is a mindset problem. I think one of the biggest hurdles to overcome when you want to write your statement of purpose is the problem of your mind, is to stop telling yourself what you cannot do. I'm saying this and repeating it because it's also a problem I had with myself. And you might be asking that why should I be doubting myself? Maybe I've done this, I've done that. No, I still experienced that low self-esteem at that point when I wanted to write. I felt like maybe I didn't have anything great to say. And a lot of persons allow that notion to affect them. You can write something. When you begin telling yourself you don't have great writing experience or you don't know if you're a good writer, you're already limiting yourself. I also said the same thing to myself. I didn't think I was a good writer. I was just giving myself reasons to doubt myself. And all of those, when people say things like that, it's simply just a reflection of self doubt. When you say things like that, when you keep repeating things like that, it reflects self doubt, it reflects some form of lack of self esteem, actually. Because if you're able to get to this point, graduate through school, you can do something, you can write something, you can. So it starts with telling yourself that you can do this. And like I said, I ended my slide with saying that stop overthinking. Pick up that, document and start putting down something. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's the mistake. You think that the day you pick up your laptop to write the statement of purpose, it should look like the best thing in the world. The first few drafts you will write will look like trash. It will look terrible, but you keep going back to it. Oh, okay, I could have put this sentence better. And that's why I also talked about getting a second opinion even when you think you are done. Because you might have thought that, oh, you wrote this well, and then someone will read it and spot grammatical errors. So having a second eye, having an experienced eye is very good, but please never tell yourself that you can't. Because I did that, but I didn't allow that stop me. So please do not do that. Do not allow that stop you from even writing at all. Just keep reminding yourself you can. you can, and everything can be learnt. I have a friend that will always tell me, and that's something that has now helped me as well. No matter what anything new you throw at her, even if she has never done it before. Funny enough, she's a lawyer, but she always tell herself there is nothing this brain of mine cannot do. That is the kind of self affirmation, like words of affirmation you should be telling yourself. That even the things you've not done before, let's say you think you don't know how to write, tell yourself there is nothing that brain of yours cannot learn to do, so you can learn it. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Um, Now, I think let's let's come down to the Nigerian level, well, the Cambridge level. But let's come down to the Nigerian street level.
Please, we've
So,
always been on a Nigerian level.
all right. So, uh, based on what you said, you started going taking the scholarship procedures preparations from an early stage, right from your undergraduate years, if I recall that correctly. Okay, so for those who are also watching this, who might be starting out early, maybe they're in their 100 level, 200 level, or maybe final year, so what advice would you have for them?
Okay, that's a very, very important question. Very, very. Thank you so much for actually bringing this up, right? I think that those who are in the very early stages of school, undergraduate studies, like 100 level, 203, it's a very, very, very great time actually to start to think about these things and to start to position yourself rightly, right? Because if you decide you want to do a master's, you want to do a master's in an international university, if you think about it from a very early age, early stage, like a first year or second year in school, is very good because it makes you know that you need to begin to act strategically. You have enough time to make good strategic decisions. So firstly, you can start by making sure that you kind of know the direction you are hoping your career will go into. So you're already identifying maybe persons, maybe lecturers or within your department that are maybe doing something slightly to what you're related with, and you're identifying that, oh, I would like to talk to this person. You can even make a mentor out of that lecturer already, and you're telling them that these are the kind of things you want to do. And I don't know, it might happen that you might end up doing, maybe when you want to do your final year research or thesis, you might now be paired with such a person because you have expressed your interest early. It can happen, it may not happen, but that way you have access to early mentorship. That way you can know maybe some of the conferences you need to be putting yourself into or attending. All those things are really good. That way you can also know some of the volunteer experiences you can do, because it's good to have volunteer experiences, but it's good to have volunteer experiences that are also in line with your career path, right? So not just random scattered volunteering. So if you know early enough in your early stages that you would like to do a master's or you like to get a scholarship, no relevant volunteer experiences, no volunteer opening positions as well, maybe places you could easily volunteer that you can learn and aligns with your career goal, because these things are things scholarship likes to see. Maybe how something that you're passionate about, for example, people that are passionate about health, a scholarship would like to see how maybe that passion for health care or something like that has maybe impacted the community. How maybe you organize a group of friends and then you organize the health drive and help so
Okay.
and so person access free medical care. So that way you already know what you want to do. Then you start to align your choices in terms of volunteer experiences, mentors, identify mentors in the field and things like that. So it's very good if you know early. You can start making the right decisions early.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you very much, Miss Favor. All right, the third question I have. So, in the beginning, I noticed you attacked AI just a bit, just and that's actually understandable. There are some people that throughout their lives, starting from SS3, WAEC, and NECO, those exams were not written by them. English. So, I think you can get where I'm going to. So, over reliance on AI has actually become a problem nowadays. Like you, AI write this for me, ChatGPT write this for me, write this for me. So what's the balance? All right, because I won't say that we should throw AI completely out of the window, but at the same time, I won't say that we should depend on it too much. So is there a balance? Do you yourself actually use AI in some of your work and SOPs and stuff?
Okay, so what I usually tell people is that I feel like AI is there to help, but not there to replace or take over the place of your brain and your mind. So when I was writing my statement of purpose, I did something very interesting because I mean AI tools were already available by then, right? They were a big thing by then. What
Right.
I did was I made my own drafts. Like I'd written myself, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I know my story. I know my past. I know the things I have done. I know the things I have achieved. I know the things I'm currently working on. I know the things I want to do, who I want to work with, and in the department, the school I was applying to, and things like that. So I already knew all of those things. So I already put them down in a document as shabby. Maybe it didn't look so great. I don't know. But I already put all of those things together, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then and the place of AI for me then with that essay was identifying ways I could say all the things I had already said in a better way, right? For
All right.
coherence. Like, oh, I'm like, oh, I have written this, I've written this. I think this sounds too formal. I think this doesn't sound so great. I mean, how can I say this thing that I have written? I want it to, have a particular feel. It should feel this way, it should look this way, right? Or to even edit grammatical errors or identify any
Mm.
grammatical error. Or I use prompts like improve maybe the sentence flow. Like maybe you know how you have two sentences and you feel like these sentences are not
No,
aligning
it's
or
not. It's not.
it's just not
Mm.
going. So I can
It's
sometimes
not
I
making
just okay,
sense.
I've written this already and I don't think it's flowing properly. Oh, can you improve the sentence flow within these two words? But these are contents I've already made. But is just simply helping for like alignment and structure.
Mm.
Because the thing is, if you solely rely on AI does not know you. AI does not know the things you've done. AI does not know, there are details that when it's not there, it's obvious it's AI written. Do you understand?
Yeah,
But there are
robotic.
ways when you
Mhm.
have already they just look so robotic and non-human. But there are ways when you have already put in your work, and even though you use the assistance of AI to help you with flow, grammar, to improve your structure and content, it shows that this was a personal work. But yeah, it might have had sharpening with AI and all, but it was still a personal work. So that's very important. So don't
All right.
don't solely rely, but it can help you
Okay.
sharpen and make your work look great.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Favor. All right. So to our viewers, once again, this is Miss Favor Coyote, and she has given us an amazing session on how to write your SOP. So, learn to dot your I's, cross your T's, and if you need to revisit this, simply just go back and check. All right. Thank you so much, Miss Favor. We shall be having the next
Thank
session now.
you.
Any closing statement for our viewers before you exit the stage?
Basically just a repetition of most of the things I have said. Please, your mind is the most important thing here when you're writing your statement of purpose. Stop telling yourself all the I can't. You need to keep telling yourself you can do everything and anything you want to do. You can learn anything you want to learn. Like you start with that mentality, hype up yourself. Because like I said, it's how you talk about yourself, it's how you write about yourself that you'll be perceived. So just think about it that way and write about the best version of yourself there ever is. So yeah, I'm rooting for every one of you applying or writing statement of purpose in this season. And I look forward to seeing success stories and success notifications. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Miss Favor. Okay,
Thank you.
so next session, Miss Lara, are you here with us?
Yes, I am. Good
Eternal
evening.
Excellency.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Jason. Good evening. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. All right. So you're ready to take the stage?
Okay. Yes, I am. I am. Always ready.
All right.
Ever active like Chivita.
Over to
All
you.
right. All right. Thank you so much, Jason. Hello, everybody. How you doing? How's your day? How was your day? I mean, we had a beautiful session yesterday. We had a very beautiful session just now by Miss Fabo Kayode, popularly known as FK. You don't know FK, then you don't know any other OK. I don't know what I mean by that, but yeah. I'm trying to say that if you don't know FK, I mean, then I don't know who you know. I mean, even people that are just coming behind, I've heard of her one way or the other. And then we've had of her very good news. I mean, one she announced last year, sometime last year, but her traveling abroad, securing the Mastercard scholarship. And yes, that's why she's here, or she was here with us. a few minutes ago. Thank you so much, ma'am. Next up, we will be having Miss Blessing Oludele. Let me read a bio for her. You know, outside reading her bio, Miss Blessing is someone I've met and I've interacted with, and all through. I mean, while we were in school, she was with my senior, but then I mean, she was really amazing, down to earth, super, super intelligent. Let me read her bio for you. Miss Blessing Oludele is a graduate of electrical engineering, sorry, from the prestigious Landmark University, where she actively tutored her peers and other students, driven by a passion to see them succeed. Now working as a data scientist, she explores how data and emerging technologies can make work more efficient and fulfilling. Blessing is especially passionate about ensuring that these advancements create real value for people, particularly young people, by expanding access to meaningful opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Blessing Oludele. I used to call her Olawa in school because her name is like Olawomi, and then she's really amazing. I mean, besides being very intelligent, I've never seen someone so passionate about teaching people. Tutorials were always her number one go-to place. I mean, while we were in school, while I was in school with her, while she was in school before she graduated, and now outside school, she's already doing great stuff, right? Finding paths and doing great things. I mean, we heard of her very good news also, where she ended up as a finalist at the Rhodes Scholarship sometime last year or early this year. And we want her to come and teach us. Ma, how did you do it? How did you take and do it? Tonight she's going to be telling us about how to write a compelling, a beautiful CV and recommendation letter. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Beautiful CV and recommendation letter. Miss Blessing Oludele, the floor is yours, ma'am. Are you with us? Okay.
Yes, I am
Hi,
here.
Ola.
Hi, Laura. It has been such a long time.
I think your mic is muted. Okay, good.
Uh, can you
Okay, I
hear me
can
now?
hear you. I can hear
Okay, it's
you
been such
now.
a long time, and I'm obviously super happy to be here. Super happy to
You're
see you again and just to enjoy the session.
Yeah.
So I think I can go right into it. So today, Gideon has asked me to speak on getting proper documents for your applications, and this involves particularly your letter of recommendation and your CVs. Let me just confirm. Can everybody hear me fine? Am I good to go? Can I start? Just one person to confirm, then I would continue.
We can hear you, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So yes, Gideon has asked me to talk about putting your documents together for the application. I have been extremely busy, so my PowerPoint is not as put together as I would have liked it to be. But it essentially just spotlights the examples that I think would be sorry, that I think would be helpful to you guys basically, and to everyone that joins the session or rewatches it when it's after this time. So this session is trying to position Pathfinders for uncommon opportunities, and I really like that tagline because it's something I have thought about. It's something that I have deliberated on, I've reflected on. So when I saw that tagline, it was something that I wanted to come and share. It was something that I really upped on immediately. And I always think of uncommon opportunities as not rare opportunities. So some people say uncommon opportunities are, oh, these things are so hard to find. We can't find these scholarships. But instead, I look at uncommon opportunities as opportunities that go to a certain type of people, that go to uncommon people, essentially. And uncommon people are people that have a prepared hands to receive them. That's people that have prepared for them. So we're just going to be trying to, yeah, TKO gave us that tagline. We're going to be trying to make everybody on this call, everyone rewatching this, one of those uncommon people, one of those people that can get these uncommon opportunities, so to say, scholarship opportunities. And I really enjoyed FK's session because FK was one of the people that I consulted when I also wanted to, when I was applying in my rounds as well. And she gave me good advice, really good advice. But she called me out. I was the person that she talked about notes, their personal statement not reflecting as much as you've done. And these are some of the mistakes that we have made, or some of the not really mistakes. I choose how I want to present myself, but it's some of the learning points that we have come across. And obviously is we are better for it and we are going to share better for it. I like that I'm also talking about CVs and letter of recommendation because these are empirical things. These are things that you are not going to think too much. You're not going to say, how am I going to say it? Should I do it like this? Let me tell a story. This is not that. This is something that you can put together and always bring it out of your toolbox whenever you see an opportunity that you really like. First things first, there are basic things that I wrote before we go into the practical session of writing this document or putting together this document. The first thing is stay organized. If you are trying to apply for opportunities, there are a lot of opportunities. I saw a tweet that said that you can be deceived to think that there are so many opportunities now in our generation, and you can be deceived because you have a lot of options that you never actually settle for one, or you are just all over the place. And that is not what we want. So the first thing is to stay organized. You should have, for any opportunity you're looking out for, you should have a folder on your laptop, on your PC for it. For every opportunity I've applied for, I have a folder on it. Roads, I have a folder. For every school I've applied for, I have a folder for it. So that's one of the most basic things. Have a folder so that you can put everything together. And when you're uploading, there's no mistake, there's no shalaye. It's straight to the point. You know where to look to get what you need. And you're putting things basically in order. The second most important thing is to follow instruction. Not every scholarship is the same. Not every school is the same. Some schools are looking for specific things, and you need to really understand what they are looking for so that you can include it in those documents. I have about 4 or 5 versions of my CV based on if I'm applying for a job, if I'm applying for a type of scholarship opportunity, if I'm applying for a school, if I'm applying to the UK, if I'm applying to the US. So I have variation of my CVs that are just like little tweaks, but in a different folder so that when I'm retrieving this CV, I know it's the CV for this opportunity, basically. So you need to look at the instruction of anything that you're applying to kind of see what they expect in this document. And the third thing, which is what I am really, is something I've been reflecting more on lately, is to understand the perspective of these people that you're applying to. FK spoke about it, that you are actually putting this document together for someone at the other hand to read it. You're not just writing it into thin air. So it is good to really understand what these people want. You need to go through the documents, the application call out very well to really understand their perspective. Is this a scholarship that is looking for leaders? Is this a scholarship that is looking for researchers? Is this a program that is looking for people to research? Once you understand their perspective, you can say, do I actually want to be a researcher? Then it makes it easier for you, basically. So just understand their perspective and go beyond grades. I heard one of the speakers yesterday say that people that didn't get a first class can get can get a fully funded scholarship, can get different opportunities. And I totally agree, because some of the opportunities I have gotten on paper, some of the opportunities I have been rejected for, rather, on paper, I looked really good. So it just tells you that it's not all about the grades. And you need to present a full profile when you're putting all these documents together. Again, you need to be intentional. This is just like my run through that I need you guys to take away from the session before we actually go into the practical of it. So you need to be intentional and position yourself. So you now understand what these people are looking for. They are looking for a researcher. A researcher is somebody that has done research. It's somebody that has the skills for research work. If these people are looking for a leader, there are things a leader has some track records of position, and you need to show that you are this person. So you need to actually position yourself for this. this is a job for people. People look through people's application as their job. They are looking, if you have been on the other side of the table, maybe hiring for a job or something, there are specific things you're looking at, and you don't want to continue looking at it endlessly. You don't, your joy is to quickly find somebody and get that job over with. So you need to position yourself as that person for that opportunity. And I have made mistakes that when I got to maybe I was shortlisted, but I didn't get it. And when I got to the final stage, I was like, I could have easily gotten this thing. Like, this is something that I was within reach, but I was not just very intentional, and I was not just very good in my positioning, so to say. So I, like FX said, I didn't speak highly of myself. I didn't display my best work. I didn't do some things that I was meant to do. So uncommon opportunities are looking for uncommon people. So you need to position yourself as that uncommon person. And this last point is something that I also have learned, I've gotten to learn the hard way. You need to exceed expectation. So when somebody says that I am looking for this and this and this, they've told you what they're looking for. That's the bare minimum. If they see somebody, and so many people are obviously going to meet that bare minimum, but if they see somebody that is like, yeah, and this is the bare minimum, obviously they're going for that person that is there. So your target is not to barely pass the minimum, is to actually exceed the minimum. Show them, and I know this is something that Gideon knows how to do, show them that you are, without question, the person for the job. So I have some clips on the following slides for my letter of recommendation, a letter of recommendation actually that I have gotten, and some portions of my CV. At any point in time where at any point in time where anyone has a question, I'm very happy to interrupt the session to take on that question. So it's not a problem. You can interrupt me at any point in time, and I will pick up that question. For letter of recommendation, there is a baseline rule. Some people are looking for people that are professors to write for them a letter of recommendation. Some people are looking for people that are, let's say, the president to write for you a letter of recommendation. Some people are looking for my MD to write a letter of recommendation for me. But there's something that I saw. I'm not the kind of person that looks for the top and mighty to write a letter of recommendation for me. But there was a quote that I saw that I really think resonated with me. And it's like, it is better for someone like a regular person to speak so passionately about you than for you to have like a highly placed person speak about you mediocrely. So it is good to have like somebody that is at the top of their career, somebody that has a high and mighty profile to speak for you. The most important thing is that that person speaks for you passionately. That person sells your story, essentially, because they are looking for reasons to, let me hear from another person. Is this person actually, should I invest my money on this person? Because scholarship is a lot of money. People that are on full ride, they don't know what God has done for them. They don't know how much it costs, but it's a lot of money. And organizations that give this scholarship, they want to justify that this person is the right person for this scholarship. So it's better to hear somebody saying, yes, this is the candidate, this is the person that you should give it to. This person is definitely going somewhere, and you'll be privileged to be part of their journey. So it's better to have that kind of recommendation, or to actually say somebody say, oh, I know this person, she was in my class, please give her this scholarship. That doesn't move the needle in your favor, and you need a letter of recommendation that can actually move the needle in your favor. And before you even reach out to anybody, you need to be sure that this person is the kind of person that can speak about me in the way I want to be spoken about, essentially. And it takes a little reflection. Don't ask everybody, don't ask just everybody, and don't ask people under pressure. Don't, like, maybe the scholarship deadline is closing in 1 week, and you ask somebody, that person obviously doesn't have enough time to settle, to put up a good letter of recommendation and things like that. So I usually ask for my recommendation way in advance. Immediately the scholarship opens, I'm asking for my letter of recommendation. oh, sir, I'd like you to write this for me. Sometimes and it's interesting that I have had lecturers who were very kind to me. That's and I trusted them enough. So some lecturers would share the letter of recommendation with you after they write it. But some I had lecturers that I trusted enough that immediately, aside lecturers, I had people that immediately whatever you write, just submit it. I don't need to see it. And there were people that like those applications pull through. So you need to know who you're asking. Is this person somebody that can really say put in a good word for me? Sometimes you might need like a draft to, okay, I need you to write something about me. I know it's been a while I've left school. Let me refresh your memory. And you put together a draft, sir. Yeah, to remember me. I was in your class. I used to do this. And you give them sort of like a um a structure, a frame of reference, to give them sort of like a draft rather. So you can the easy the baseline is the person should introduce them and know how and introduce how they know you. So yes, this lecturer just said I have been one of their students and they've taught me from my first year. So this obviously establishes like a long-term relationship. It's not a 2-year relationship. This person knows me. So if you're writing the draft, just try and establish how this lecturer knows you. Also, it's in scholarships, they usually put in, okay, this is what we want to hear from the person. This is and this. One of the things they want to hear is like that you are top of your class, if it's an academic reference. So the person can tell you that they're top of your class. And if you are not top of your class, the person can speak to why you're not top of your class. This is very important. So some people are like, oh, I finished with a second class lower, or I finished with this. The person can say, when this person came to school, I noticed this and this, but I watched them pick up in their last 2 years. And I'm sure that, like, those kind of words, it can really move the needle in your favor. So it's something that you need to bear in mind if you are asked to, like, put a kind of draft. You know your situation and you know how you want to appear. You want to appear as that kind of uncommon person that gets this uncommon opportunity. So you need that person's word to build the profile for you to defend your case. So it's something. So after you establish how the person knows you, establish the academic, maybe your academic excellence or explanations to why you're not academically excellent. Once you've done that part, the person should speak to your motivation. The person can speak to, okay, I know that this person has worked on this type of projects. So it's always best if like the projects are in line with whatever you're going to university to do, whatever you're applying for. So I have some letter of recommendations. I did electrical engineering in my undergraduate, but I have now moved into data science and I have had letters of recommendation. This might not have been the best example, but this was like, I just pulled up this one. I've had letter of recommendations that the lecturers say that, oh, while Blessing was doing electrical engineering, science, and she has done this and this project to show that this is a field that she's passionate about. I've had letter of recommendation that says Blessing is capable of independent research in data field, like, and I'm applying for things in data science. So I've had letter of recommendation that essentially show that this lecturer understands where I'm going to. This lecturer is confident that I will go into this school and do well. This lecturer is confident that I will be an addition to the school. And it is clearly reflected in my letter of recommendation. So this is something that they can also speak to, how you connect with the course you're going for. And the person can also just talk about your community involvement, your leadership involvement as well in your letter of recommendation to paint a very good picture. So I will be moving to the CVs if anybody has any question on the letter of recommendation, because sometimes you might be asked to actually, okay, I need a draft. I'm a busy lecturer. I need you to do the first draft. I'll look at it, then edit it. It's not an unusual request, so you might need to do that. That's why I quickly touched on the letter of recommendation. So I have not seen any questions. I'll just quickly move to the CV. The first thing on your CV is that it needs to be clean. the format needs to be very clean. I do not want to be looking at a crooked line on your CV. It needs to be clean. It needs to show that you're educated. There should be no grammatical errors. ChatGPT is there. You can proofread it with ChatGPT. It needs to be very clean. It needs to follow a structure. I'm looking at the education in top. I see work experience. I basically know what to expect next when I'm looking at your CV. So first things first, your name should be at the front. You can just do everything. It's more important that your CV is clear and clean than for it to be beautiful and colorful and aesthetically pleasing. It's more important that this is a clean CV. Like it has to be a clean CV. I'm not going to waste my time reading an unstructured CV. And I'm not even the one that is reviewing scholarship application, but I wouldn't just waste my time doing that. So your CV has to be clean. I've stressed that enough. Also, your details they clearly should be able to see that this CV belongs to Blessing Oludele. Top. I blurred out my contact details because this would, sorry. Okay, yeah. I blurred out my sorry, cancel. I blurred out my contact details because this is going on YouTube and I don't want anybody reaching out to me. But yes, you should include your phone number, your email, maybe your LinkedIn. I don't think location is necessary. So you can include your phone number, your email, your LinkedIn probably. Or if you have if you're going for a course that needs like a sort of portfolio or something like that, you can also include links to that. Then your education, clearly written. Your university education is the only thing that is very important, and you should clearly include it that yes, this is the school I went to, this is the course I taught. This you can include relevant courses. For me, I included relevant courses because I am transitioning from electrical engineering to data science. I have transitioned anyways. I'm not in transition anymore. I have transitioned. They need to be able to ascertain that if you're doing a data science course, there are some fundamentals that we need to know that this person is able to handle it when they come to school. Nobody is looking to, the truth is, nobody is looking to say, I don't want to give you an opportunity, maybe for admission self, because scholarship is another level. Admission is actually tough in some of the schools. They don't just want to say, okay, you're not doing it. They want to see that you're somebody that can actually undo the cost load of whatever program you're going for. And it's for your good, because if you get to a school and you're struggling, it's not going to be nice on you. So you need to actually reflect this program, look through the program, the course information, and see that this is a program that I can handle conveniently, and you need to show how you can handle that. So for me, data science, programming, and statistics are relevant into data science field. So I put that, and I also show them that while I was in school, I also juggled some leadership positions, which tell them that I didn't just barely pass. Like I passed combining things. So it's just like how you want to present yourself, basically, and you need to do that. Can we ask for recommendation letters from secondary school teachers and elective courses lecturers? So it depends. Some schools allow you to ask letter of recommendation from someone that knows you, but some schools specifically say it's somebody that has taught you in the university, a lecturer in the university. Some schools, I remember in the roads application, they asked for three academic references, if I'm correct, and one at least one character reference. So the character reference, I could ask anybody, but the academic reference is somebody that has professionally taught me, like in school. And you could argue that your secondary school teacher has professionally taught you if there's no limitation. And if you are unclear, you can always send them a mail to find out. So it depends. Some schools allow it, but mostly it's university. They want to see who has taught you in university, who can speak about your last degree. For work experience, clearly the company you're working with, your posts, and when you started, the dates. My CV might not be the best CV to highlight what I want to speak on in work experience, but maybe let me go to this work experience. So I've obviously had some data science work experience, which I put on my CV. It is always good, like FK said, to put like some metrics on your CV. My CV might not be the best, but if you look at this third point, you can see optimize complex SQL queries and achieved an average of 10 times faster query time. So clearly I know what I'm doing with SQL for me to shorten the query times, and I explained how I did it. So there's something about, okay, tell us what you did, tell us the tools you did, tell us the results you got. So 10 times faster query times, tell us the tools you used, and tell us how you did it in a bullet point. If you look at the first one, I utilize I utilize Python to create PowerPoint presentation, resulting in a 3-day faster report creation process. So it shows that I can use Python, and it shows that I'm thinking about how to make the process more efficient. So your CV, the experiences on your CV are portraying you as that uncommon person. Like, I'm the person that should do this. And most of my work experience are geared towards getting a job, because this is the CV some of these bullet points are some of the things I used to get a job. So that aside like your work experience, there are other dimensions of you. You need to go beyond academics. So beyond academics, I've talked about my work experience. In the place of work, I can also deliver value. Aside that, I have some awards and certification. These are just a little bit, but I'm a professional machine learning engineer. Because I'm applying for, they would use machine learning. I have a Power BI certification. This is something that is relevant. I've been the college rep. I got an award of excellence in leadership. These are things that show me as a rounded person. So if you're somebody that your academics is not your strong point, you need to hammer on all these other points. I also put some leadership positions, but I really want my CV to be clean. So it's just one line, as which FK is not so happy about, but yeah, for me, it was what I needed to do. So aside leadership position, I also had extracurriculars, a lot of them in my CVs. The Unleash program, Leap Africa, Youth leadership program. And this was all this these are like leadership, African development, those kind of things. Because at one point I was applying to like an MPP, and the program I'm applying to is a social data science program. So it's not just a plain technical program. It's a program that involves solving social issues. So I'm interested in social issues, and I always try to present myself as somebody that is interested in it. So I've done several presentations talking about social issues, talking about how to use AI to solve social issues and things like that. And I always present myself as that kind of person on my CV. And this CV might not be the best, because you need to have like metrics, which some people say, but I'm an advocate of don't lie, present yourself in the best light, be very prepared and present yourself in the best light. Because think about it, if you're on the other side, what are these people expecting? And it's important to know that the pool of people that you're applying with will determine how the amount of work you're putting in. So if you're applying with a pool of people that is within Nigeria, so you can say, okay, I don't really need to toot my own like that, which is wrong. You should always toot your own. But like, the smaller the pool, if this scholarship I'm applying is for only Nigerians, so I can do this and it's acceptable. But if it's a global pool, you need to I don't mean it like Nigerians are not competitive, but I'm like, if you're in a school now and they say this, you're in a school, maybe a foreign school, and they say this scholarship is open to only Nigerians that have gotten the offer. So that pool is smaller. There might be only 2 Nigerians that have gotten the offer. So that's a smaller pool for you. But if they say that it's open to everybody in the course that has an offer, that's a larger pool. And you need to show that you stand out. You're the uncommon person in that pool, which is unfair, because life is competitive, but there's always opportunity cost, and you must be ready to go the extra mile to put in the work required for anything you really want. And I would definitely recommend that everyone gets Unleash the book, because it just helps you to think about how to position yourself for uncommon opportunities. Yes, I think this is the last slide, and now we can take questions. We can take question. So I would hand over to Lara again to come up, then we can speak. Sorry, 1 minute. I need Lara to come up. But in the meantime, if there is anybody that has a question, anybody that has something to clarify, you can just drop it um in the YouTube comment section. In the YouTube comment section, and we would take it up. We will take it up from there. So if you have any questions, you can drop it in the YouTubes. So I see one question: how many pages of a CV is needed? Some people, some scholarships, some school applications, they don't have a limit to how many pages is required. But I would say ideally 2 pages is enough. But this is not a hard and fast rule. What I would say is that your most important information, put it on the top page. So if this person says after the top page, I'm not reading anymore, they already have the things that you want them to see first. They already have the things that present you in the best light at the top page. So if you have like research papers that are published, research papers you are proud of. I didn't really have that, so I didn't put any of those in my CV. But I know people that really had like 4 or 5 research papers. They talked about it at length in their CV, and their CV was bordering 3 pages. So I'd say put things that you are proudest of at the top. So if you're not really proud of your academics, you can shift it lower. You can remove your CGPA if you're proud. I didn't even have my CGPA, to be honest. I didn't have my CGPA on my CV when I applied for most of the things, but I included it later. But the things you're proudest of, it should be top of the mind. Everybody presents themselves in good light, and you must not be the one to shoot yourself in the foot, because yes, there's a large pool. People are speaking very highly about themselves, and you should. And I'll just say a humorous story rather, that I remember one of the scholarships I applied for. We got to the final. I knew somebody that won it. Um, and when I was talking to the person's friend, the person said, "Yeah, if you are applying to something that this boy is applying to, you are almost certain that you wouldn't get it, because this person will speak about themselves in the best light possible, and they would, if he's talking about a bullet point, he's saying I doubled the revenue. I 10 times it. Even people that like put content on social media, I was like, before I put the content, after I put the content, like there was a clear difference. I tailored it to the audience. Like they are showing so much intentionality in how they want you to see them. And because your documents are the first thing that precedes you, they are what actually allows you to enter this page to speak more about yourself. So your documents must speak highly about you. So the person is like, okay, I want to meet this person. I want to hear what this person has to say. Yes, Lara is here, so we can continue.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Blessing. I was trying to get up, but then, a few things, technicalities that we needed to put together at the backstage. All right, thank you for your time this evening. We really appreciate it. I think you were very clear and concise. You were very simple, really. I mean, questions would have because
Yep, you're muted.
okay, can you hear me now? Are you with me? Hello.
Yep,
All right.
yep, yep.
Okay. So I was saying you were very clear and concise, and then it was very simple and direct. For people should just learn. People can easily learn, and I've learned today. I've learned. While your CV is very a lot. I mean, I saw a lot of information and I was jealous, a little bit, tiny bit jealous, because I mean, you had a lot of things in there. So, what would you say to people who don't have as much as you do? Right, you have a lot of information that you can put there. I mean, you posted where you have done your, IT, you've done this data science, you've Leap Africa. People that have not done Leap African core, I mean, what would you say that they should do? Would you just say, oh, they should take courses and just level up and all of that? While you can they just make do with the little we have or they have? I mean, just magnify what they've done in the most appropriate way, or do you suggest that we should take more, more certificated courses, more internships, to ensure that our CV is boosted up? So that's to like buttress the question that someone already asked, that how long should a CV be? Right. So I've heard people say, oh, your CV should not be more than one page, not be more than two pages, not be more than three pages. Some people say ensure that you write and exhaust all the things that you've done, as long as it's appropriate to what you're applying for. Right. So what would you suggest? You say we should take courses, or we should go for internships, or I mean, the little you have, you can just make do with what you have. I mean, it's never enough, but then what you have is just good enough, as long as you're a graduate and you can just expand it and just add a few body to the CV, just to make it have body. As long as it's average one page, you are okay. Right. Are you with me, Miss Blessing? So what would you suggest?
Yes, I am. So I don't know. There's an echo.
I can
I,
hear you though. Okay.
okay, yes. I just have there's just an echo at the end of my voice. It's trying to get away from me. Okay, yes, I think we're good to go now. So that's an interesting question, and it's a good question. And because we are thinking from a different level, you're thinking as somebody that is an uncommon person, somebody that should get these opportunities. I have two answers to that. And the first is, there are some applications that do not have, like, you can apply as many times as possible. So it's not like for the roads application, you can only apply twice. Sorry, you can only apply twice. So I'm not advising you to waste those time, if you like those trials, those trial times, if you know that you're not going to have a good shot at actually getting to like a stage in the interview or something like that. So I'm not going to advise you to waste that. But on the other hand, there's some applications that I can apply for this school as many times as possible. So even if like I'm not where I want to be, I can put together what I have in the best possible light, and I can put it in for an application. And what's I don't get it. I'm already on a journey to like further developing myself, and I apply next time. I don't lose anything, just a little extra time in putting my application together. On the other hand, for applications that have like, oh, you can only apply for this once, you can only apply for this twice, I would say that life is long. Some people pressure themselves and say, oh, my friend is going abroad, or my friend is doing this. Life is long. God willing, us being alive, life is long, life is interesting, life is a journey, is an adventure. You can take your time, develop yourself, build your profile, and put in a good application that gives you a better shot. Um, it's not the first that enters a school. Like, my journey is different from your journey, that kind of thing. So if you know that your journey requires you to stay back, build some more profile, build your profile basically, and become that person essentially. Because you're not just going to be the uncommon person. These opportunities are looking for a specific type of people. And I'm always I don't apply for everything. I'm not one of those people that say, just spread your applications anyway. I know that I'm an uncommon person, and I apply for things that are worth my while, or things that are going to be worth my while at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if like it's a full ride scholarship or not. Like, if I don't want it, I don't want it. You cannot convince me because you're paying the money to go and get it. So you know your journey, you know what you're looking out for, and you can build your profile to that specific thing. Another thing is that people say that, so Lara said my profile, my CV is long, which now it looks long, but when I was putting it together, it honestly didn't look that long. Some of the things I put there, you can only see that I put one line, two lines. I didn't want to talk much about them. which let me present just again. How do I? Yep. How do I? Can you guys see my? Can you still see my slides? Let me know if this is still visible. Okay, not yet. So I just want my slide to be up so that I can quickly talk on some things and just some ways that. Okay, yes, thank you. So my work experience, because I had like a lot more things to say about my work experience. I enjoyed working with Rack Center. Rack Center is like family, and also in my work with LLMs now and data science, I had a lot of things to say. So this took the bulk of my work, and I'm trying to get it to 2 pages. I was targeting 2 pages for this CV. But if I did not have that work experience, each of these points, my time as the library prefect in my secondary school, my time as what study PRO, like they were easily things that I could elaborate on. So you need to look at what are you trying to spotlight in everything that you have on your CV. There are things that you can talk more on. So where I put all these just one liners, if it was somebody that didn't have a lot of work experience, you can look for how you use data. Like now for me that I'm in data science, how you use data in each of these positions, how you made informed decision based off of that. And you can just show that, because my program is social data science, you can just show that how you cared about social issues while you were in that position. Because you need to, that's why the very first page which I shared on things that you need to take note of, this understanding their perspective is very important. And I'll say for an application that I did not get into in my time of reflection, which is something you must do when you're applying, I didn't get into it, but I went back and I reflected on, okay, why didn't I get into it? And I saw that what they were looking for from reading about, so you don't see an application today and say, yes, I want to apply. You read about it, read about, possibly search for people that have gotten this opportunity, that have been to this school on LinkedIn, read their course pages, read their people, read their lecturers to see what exactly is this department looking for. So back to my story, for the application that I didn't get into, when I reflected, I saw that these people were looking for kind of like research oriented people. I'm not research oriented. I do not want to optimize machine learning, improve their efficiency. That's not what I'm looking for in my life. Like, that's not what I want. So I saw that they were looking for people that maybe to like pushing the frontiers of AI and data science, doing novel research. Okay, what's like a benchmarking metrics to? I looked at the past profiles of people that have gotten into the program, and I saw that those are the kind of things. And even in the application, they said that we should um submit a research proposal. So from the application, I could already see that am I really the kind of person that these people are looking for? But like I wanted to enter it, it was a good school. But in retrospect, now I see that understanding their perspective, I might not have been the perfect person for that opportunity. So it depends on like you need to really. Some people say, "Oh, there are some schools that you're applying to," and straight up, if you look at the people that are in the course now, there are people straight out of undergrad, no work experience. Maybe they have 2 projects on their CV, which is another thing. If I didn't have work experience, I have a lot of projects, and they are not even fully developed projects, but they are things that I have tried my hands on, which I can put and talk about it. And I can even put it that I did not get to the end of this project because of this and these findings. Is also part of my experience. You can put a competition. I entered this competition, but I did not win, but I learned this and this. Is how you tell your story as somebody that is deserving. I should take a shot on you. You are somebody that is deserving of this uncommon opportunity. I remember that we said in the beginning, uncommon opportunities are not rare opportunities. They are not scarce opportunities. You must never have that scarcity mindset. I have the mindset that if I don't get the scholarship, there's another way. Like, that's my mindset. If I want it, there's another way that will open up. So you must not have that scarcity mentality that, oh, if I don't get it, it's the end of the world. That's not true. You just need to make yourself that person that uncommon opportunities will come to. So, yeah.
at the
Okay.
of tonight's presentation. But one more question, that would be, when you were selecting people who could write you a letter of recommendation, were you selecting based on relationship, or you selected based on the lecturer's qualification or level in the university? I mean, we have lecturers who are yet to be doctors, who are yet to get their master's degree, or lecturers who are professors. I mean, and then if a professor recommends you, you can tell the difference between when a professor recommends you and you and then there's another person. I mean, and then another lecturer who maybe is an assistant recommends you. I mean, it's not the same, right? So I'm saying, when you were choosing people who wrote your letter of recommendation, would you say that you chose people based on, oh, I know this person, I mean, he knows me very well, he can say good things about me? Yes, that exists. While that person can say that, well, would you also say that we should try to look out for lecturers who, or I mean, or people in our universities who, are there, like there, like top, yeah, to recommend us? I mean, would it create an edge for us, or you just think that we should just find people that are good enough to write something good about us? I'm asking for
So,
your personal experience. What did you do?
so when I started this, I already said that it's better to have someone speak highly about you that can move the needle in your favor than somebody that is high there speak just averagely about, like, oh yeah, she was in my class. So my personal experience, which should not be taken as like um the standard anyways, I look for people that I had good relationship with, people that could speak highly of me. Unfortunately for me, one of them was a professor. Okay, I think I had like maybe two of them were professors, or two of them just became professors. One of them wasn't even a lecturer. Like it wasn't like mainly a lecturer. Basically, it was one of them had left the school. That's another thing. One of them had left the school. The thing about letter of recommendation that I find interesting is that when you start to ask for letters of recommendation, you kind of get to see. So it's important to start early. When you start asking for letter of recommendation, you learn things about yourself. From my letters of recommendation, I got more confidence. So I think it's important to start early, but you need to look for people that can speak highly about you. And it is always better if some people say that being a professor is better. Well, I agree, kind of, not too much, but I agree. It's better if the person that can speak highly of you is also like a high ranking person. But I look for people that can speak highly of me. I looked for my lecturers that I really respected. Lecturers I respected, I reached out to. If I respected you, I would reach out to you just to give it a shot. Some people, you would ask some people, and you can tell that this lecturer really doesn't have the time. You're not angry, but this lecturer doesn't have the time. And it happened to me. So you need to, well, eventually the lecturer did put his letter of recommendation, but I like, for future iterations, I didn't reach out to that person because I wanted somebody that would take their time and put in a good word for me. So whether that person is a professor, assistant professor, once you know that that person is, the person knows what he's doing, is somebody you respect. So I had a strong letter of recommendation for somebody that was not even in landmark anymore, that was currently doing like a doctorate. Like it was not even in lecturing anymore. It was outside doing something like in school at the moment. And it was one of the schools I got into, and one of the schools I
Yeah,
really liked. So somebody that can
thank you
talk
so.
about you.
Yeah, all right. So, one last question we can see in the comment box. It said, can the people outside your department do the recommendation letter? I think Miss Blessing already answered that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. A serious person outside your department can put a better letter of recommendation from you than somebody in your department. I have
Yeah.
I have a letter of recommendation from somebody in computer science. I have a letter of recommendation for somebody in physics. Like, and it's interesting. My computer science letter of recommendation speaks more to the fact that I'm going into data science, which is like in that field. My physics letter of recommendation speaks to somebody, speaks to like my research capacity. This person speaking that, because this person is someone that publishes papers, does things like that. So I know that this person can do good research, that kind of. And it was the school that I'm not getting to, but it wasn't the letter of recommendation. The letter of recommendation with a different research proposal would have definitely gotten me in. I'm sure of that.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. We have a few things to say to you. We have a few, while we had questions coming, we also had compliments, we had appreciations coming, and we'd like to read a few of them. Someone says I should let you know that Miss Blessing, you're amazing. You have inspired me. Oh, you're inspiring people. Another person said something like, oh, someone said, oh, she's very intelligent, 4.98. Wow. I think we saw your CGPA somewhere around, somebody cut
I
it
let you
somewhere.
lose. Yeah, she shouldn't have got that. She should on the
We didn't have
message.
been that. But when I just saw it, I said, wow, this person is a damn set with this. But yes, we like to appreciate that about you. And honestly, we want to say thank you for your insights tonight. It was really an amazing time with you, listening to you. It was short, it was concise, it was clear, it was direct, and it was extremely, knowledgeable and revealing. And I'm sure that from now onwards, our CVs will begin to take new dimensions. And, beyond even applying for a scholarship, CVs are very necessary for, securing good jobs and bagging, good placements in life. And someone once told me, your CV is you. Your CV is how people see you. So, I mean, people get to see you well when you have a very good CV. And you said something like that, that it's these things that we're looking for, our uncommon opportunities, and we need to position ourselves as uncommon people. So thank you so much, Ma. I'm leaving here with a school bag or a bag full of good knowledge that I would implement my own self. I don't know about the other people, but my own self, I will put it inside. And we love to have you again and again. Elevate Hub is a platform for good stuff like this: academic excellence, leadership excellence, growth in life, all round knowledge. And I'm sure that we'll bring you back again and again because this is really amazing. Thank you so much, man. Um, with no more
Yeah,
minutes
thank
to
you.
take, all right, we'd like to say thank you so much. We'd like to say bye.
I do have one last point. Just
Okay.
to, am I a queen? Okay, yeah. Just to encourage
Yeah, we can.
anybody, like scholarships are not the only thing. Like you are placing yourself as somebody that is ready to take on uncommon opportunities. Scholarships are not the only uncommon opportunities, and it's okay to allow yourself look beyond scholarships. There are other forms of uncommon opportunities. Also, people are focusing on foreign scholarships, but there are Nigerian institutions that actually sponsor you to go abroad. I know people, maybe not in Nigeria, somebody I knew that was working and as a job paid for her to get a degree to come back. You can get a very good job in Nigeria that can do that for you. So don't pigeonhole your mind and say, I must get MasterCard. I must get Commonwealth. Some of you need to just talk to your parents in a different way and you guys can work out something. So don't narrow yourself that until this institution gives me a scholarship, my life will not move forward. There are even beyond going back to school, there are some opportunities that you get that are uncommon that people that go back to school don't have. There are some relationships that's why you should read that Unleashed book. Anybody that hasn't read it should read it honestly, because there are several uncommon opportunities that you can be rightly positioned for. Yeah. So thank you, Lara. I really had fun. It was nice seeing you again as well.
Have a very good
You
night.
are
Bye.
still muted.
Am I? Okay. I said thank you very much, Ola. It was nice seeing you again. Bye. Okay. So, all right. Everyone, we've had a beautiful time. We have exceeded our time yet again, but this time around it's for a good cause, right? I believe everyone can hear me. Can you hear me? Um, Hello, can you guys hear me? Oh, good. I want to know. Okay, can hear me good. All right. So we've exceeded our time yet again, and we'll still like to say thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. Please and please, Pathfinder Scholarship Webinar is not just for Pathfinders only. We're open to everyone out there. I mean, people who are still in school, people who are yet to graduate, people who are even yet to get an admission into the university. We are teaching people who are just interested. Even if you are old, you are out of school, you have done your PhD, we are still, I mean, this is a platform that is open to everyone that is willing to learn more and willing to gain more, right? So yes, please bear that in mind, and tell your friends to tell your friends to tell their friends to tell another person about Elevate Hub and the PSW 2025. I will be bringing up Jason now. Jason, are you over there? Okay, thank you everyone for responding. Jason, can you hear me?
I think I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I think Jason is having a few things to take care of at his hand. Um, Jason, are you there at your end?
I'm here. You can't see
Okay, I
me.
think the network is back. Okay, hi Jason, how you doing tonight?
Okay. I'm good. I'm fine. So you couldn't hear me before?
I think you're muted because I can barely hear you. I cannot even hear you at all.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, I can hear you now, but I can barely hear you. Very, very low, but okay.
Oh, all right. I'm guessing it's a technical issue. So sorry about that. But am I clearer now?
Still quite low, but don't worry, we can work with that. How are you tonight?
Oh, it's fine. I'm fine. Once again, I've been oppressed for the second time in a row. 4.98 is no joke. No
So,
joke at all.
yeah. So again, I would like to ask, how would you describe tonight's session? How would you describe tonight's session?
I think it was really educative. I love Miss Favor's session, and then Miss Blessing really like hit the nail on the head, opened my eyes to a lot of things that I was ignorant of, and one of that is, I never knew that when you are sending your CV should be, in her words, clean. I usually thought that you have to put as much information as you can, but like she said something during her session that she had over three different types of CVs for like different purposes, whether she's applying for a job or anything. So that really spoke to me, and I had to put that down. That after now I have to start developing different versions of my CV. A truly intelligent and inspiring woman, honestly. Yeah, her session was just top notch, honestly.
Honestly, I agree with you. I agree with you. So when it comes to your CV, it's not one size fits all. Honestly, I think
Exactly.
I mean, there are ways that we rebrand ourselves and to look appealing to whosoever we are presenting ourselves to. I'm glad that we are both learning, and I'm sure the people who join in tonight have learned a lot. Thank you so much. We'd like to give special shout outs to some of our active, participants tonight, people who dropped comments in the comment section. We'd like to recognize them, to tell them that we see you guys. Thank you so much for engaging. Please ensure that you share with your friends. Ensure that you invite new people tomorrow. Let them know what Elevate Hub is doing. Let them know that the Pathfinder Scholarship webinar is up and is available for them. It's available for everyone who's willing to maximize this opportunity. So we'd like to give a special shout out to Marvelous Olajunwo, Alive That Glows Academy, Oluwatobi Ajiboye, Olushola Ayofeoluwa, Ibrahim Damilare. We'd like to recognize Daniel Adeyemo. And of course, we recognize Jason Adebola, our great co-host. Is there any other person that I skipped? Okay, I see Becoming Him. Hi, Becoming Him. We recognize everyone who has made the comment section really engaging tonight. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. So I'm bringing Jason up to tell you more about tomorrow's event. Bye, guys. Have a beautiful night. Jason, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, this night session has been something else. I'm sure each and every one of us learned a lot. Once again, please like, share, and subscribe. All right, let's like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word. Okay. So tomorrow is the final day. All right, this is a 3 day program. Tomorrow is the final day. You do not want to miss out on this, people. So tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your family, tell anyone and everyone that you believe needs to like hear this, needs a scholarship. This is going to be probably one of the most impactful sessions out of the 3 day program. All right, and let me just do a little sneak peek on the people that are going to be speaking to us tomorrow. So we have, I wonder if I should give the best right now. Should I give the best? Okay, no. Okay. All right. So tomorrow we have Mr. Etienne Essien. All right. So this man is a business expert. He's a business expert. You know what? I'm not going to say much about him. Anticipate, be there tomorrow. You're just going to you just have to be there. And tomorrow as well, we are going to be having Mr. Ojo Zebulon. If you graduated from Landmark between the years 20, okay, 2024, 2025 or so, you'll definitely know Mr. Ojo Zebulon. All right. So let's just say tomorrow is going to be packed. All right. You do not want to miss this. Once again, this program has been brought to you by the Gideon's Consulting and the 11th set, as well as Elevate Hub. So shout out to Mr. Gideon, not Mr. Okay, Dr. Professor Gideon Yusuf, for bringing this program our way. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. All right. Good night, everyone.